Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. A little less boisterous than the norm. We are in a convention hall.
You're very respectful. There are some people here on Radio Row who will shout just the same, but not you.
Scream it.
Very considerate.
Scream it, right. I try to be. Other people are working. Other people are doing radio programs. Today's program, we'll have Mike Norvell on it. Hey, how about that? Why don't we'll get that out of the way first and foremost. We'll let you know that as you're listening
Be right
back. Mike Norvell will join us. So will Jordan Travis. So that's a good thing. And I know that yesterday you guys got to see and hear a lot from them. We figured we'd hold it back to do it today and separate ourselves.
Touch on it.
That's right. That's right. As usual, it's just a conversation. We're having a good conversation with Coach, who, by the way, let's just say it right now. Looks great, is in great spirit. He seems to be really genuinely excited to see this team get back to work. I say get back to work, I mean on the field. These guys have been working hard all offseason. We know that. But get back to work and see where they can be, what kind of team they can be. It's interesting. It's it's almost like an experiment. You think you've got everything you need, all the pieces, all the ingredients, if you will, for something. But now you want to put in the work to see what you can concoct. And in this case, I think he knows they're a good team. Can they be a great team?
So that's interesting to me because while you guys were talking to Coach Norvell, I was there for the player interviews, but then I went and did some stuff behind the scenes.
Right.
So I wasn't there to feel the room the way you did.
Yeah, I felt it.
But what's interesting to me is that means it's a continuation, and we talked about this on yesterday's program.
We did.
From the spring showcase press conference where you could tell his body language, his tone was job well done. Job well done, gentlemen. You guys took it seriously. Spring was good. We had boxes to check. You checked those boxes. You came prepared. It's nice to hear that he believes they've continued that momentum from the summer into the eve of fall camp, which is basically where we are now.
I think it's because of their willingness to embrace the work. He used that phrase a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of a theme for him right now.
It's a shirt they wear, yeah.
It's a good theme, by the way. It's really something that it's applicable to all of us every day. You can use that. That's something I'm going to say to my kids. It's true. Embrace that, and also embrace the discomfort that comes with having to do things that make you better. Yep. That's not easy. That's not easy, really, no matter what you're doing. I mean, we tend to lie to ourselves an awful lot in the name of comfort. So this is the thing, right? Like when you're challenging young kids to get them to buy into something, you're telling them, I'm challenging you to work past whatever boundaries you've got for yourself. And that can be difficult.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice. I mean, that word is overused. Sometimes I think it's watered down. We know what true sacrifice is in the workplace and in our society. But for these kids, you could go to a happy hour and spend more than 1 hour at a happy hour with your friends.
I've done it.
And do that over and over again. And eat fast food over and over again.
Right.
But you have to make the choice not to do those things because it's going to take you to a different level as a football player. You've got to sacrifice the college experience that your peers have in the classroom to do something on your own that's different and more special to you. And these kids are apparently making that choice, that it is their priority, that this is what they're going to do.
A lot of kids on the team that have played a lot of football and have morphed into leaders. He's in a good position, Mike Norvell. If we take a snapshot from 3,000 feet up and we're looking at this program, if we just zero it back in on Mike Norvell, the man, the coach, right, the guy that came here from Memphis, tasked with the responsibility of getting this thing back on track. If you really think about what he's done, and I'm not his agent. I don't just reap praise upon the man for the sake of doing so. If he does something poorly, I'm going to say that. If he makes mistakes, we're going to talk about that. So this isn't in an effort to exalt Mike Norvell for the sake of doing it. I don't, he doesn't need it, first of all. He's a guy that likes having genuine discourse. So that's fine. And he understands I'm going to say things that he disagrees with, et cetera. So this is genuine is what I'm getting at. Mike's done an amazing job. This roster didn't have good players. That's the easiest way to say it. This roster, when he got here, did not have good players.
No.
I mean, everywhere.
5 or 6?
Yeah. Everywhere you looked, you thought, God, dog, this is a nightmare.
Man, the first tour of duty.
They weren't. Now, and when I say that, I always like to clarify for our newer listeners. First of all, I'm pretty blunt. Secondly,
welcome.
This is to a standard. We're talking about to a Florida State standard, not a Wake Forest standard. I know they beat us. Not a traditional, not a Memphis standard. This is Florida State, where when you're right, as I like to say, when you're operating at peak efficiency, you play for national titles. The things that Georgia has just won back-to-back of, that's what you want to be. So when you watch Georgia, which we have these last 2 years and thought, damn, they're loaded. And then the NFL draft proved they were loaded, right? When you watch them, you go, he's a plus player. He's probably the best player in the country. That guy's pretty close to the next best player in the country.
He shouldn't even be in college right now.
This guy should be dominating the league.
Dumb. He should already be there.
Right, all this stuff, right? That's what you say when you see them. And when Alabama's kicking ass, you say the same thing about them. When Ohio State has a loaded team, you go, oh, look at those. Everywhere you look. That's what you're supposed to be saying about Florida State. So by that standard, when Mike got here, they didn't have good players. There really wasn't. There wasn't really a guy that you would be like, well, he's capable of being described in that way. Now, some of them emerged.
Right. But by that standard, they might have had 2 or 3.
Right.
Maybe.
By that standard.
Yeah.
So when you think that, and now here we sit, a short time later, this team just won 10 games, and a lot of people here in Charlotte think they're going to win the ACC.
Yeah. Okay. So to your point, how about a middle stage that exemplifies what you're talking about? When Jermaine Johnson showed up on campus, it was a different species.
A revelation.
You know what I mean? It's just different than what we had. You have 84 of these other things, and then here is a true bona fide future pro. This is a professional that you brought in. And he literally stood above the rest in every huddle he was in every scrum, every drill. You're like, well, that dude is like everybody else. Plus, he's at 1.2 ratio, 1.3 ratio. He's just different. And now it's not just Jermaine Johnson. Now you've got 8 of those guys, 10, maybe 12, and a bunch more on the way, I think, in terms of the recruiting class they brought in, the caliber of player. Once they develop and turn into men, they're going to be what Jermaine Johnson was. So instead of one guy that sticks out like a sore thumb, now when you list our best players, when you do an exercise in the preseason, like the Warchant top 40, when you get to 12 and 13, you're still listing legitimate professional football players that are here, and that's the transition period for them in their life. But we get to break them down. Florida State next year at the NFL draft is going to produce over 10 picks. No sweat. As long as there aren't major injuries.
All likelihood,
I'm not talking about all lotteries. I'm just saying they had one last year. One.
Yeah, in the 5th round.
Freaking one. It's going to be 10, 12, 13 in this upcoming draft next year.
It certainly seems that way. And one of the things that I'll point out is that, and you'll hear from Mike. So, I ask him some of these things, but I think it's hard. This is, again, extrapolating these football analogies and descriptors into our own life. I think it is very hard in any profession or maybe even any relationship to really carve out time to appreciate how you've arrived at that place, whether it's the job that you like, if you have one that you like, or the marriage that you're in, or your best friend and you playing golf, or whatever it is, because you're just playing golf, or you're just coming home to your wife, or you're just going to work. You don't take time. None of us do, understandably. We just get busy with our lives, and there's always the next thing. There's always something coming or going. So you don't have a lot of time to sit around and think, this is pretty awesome. This is really, I really appreciate this. This is a good day. This is a good time. I love this. I love my wife. I love my job. I love whatever it is, right?
Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Whatever that time is for you, it could be an evening when the family's home and you're all together and you're catching up on everybody's day. Like whatever that moment is. But that's not every day.
No.
And it's not every moment of every day.
Yeah.
Because you've got stuff to do.
It's a snapshot.
Yeah.
But why do I bring that up? Well, I mean, the theme to me this morning, sitting there talking to Mike Norvell and in that group with the breakout, for the breakout, is that he's excited to go to work.
Yeah.
He's excited to take the next step. He's excited about what lies ahead. But I think before getting here and before this all starts, he has taken the time to appreciate where they've come from. And I think what rings true and why guys play hard for him and why they don't, at least not yet, have any problems in that locker room, despite bringing in so many transfer portal players.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they don't is I think he genuinely is happy for them and appreciates them. And it comes across. It comes across in the way that he talks about them, the way that he talks about Jordan Travis, for example, and believing in him and trusting him.
Yeah, I think it won't ever be the same for him after this.
No.
Because if they go to the place that they're supposed to, it looks like they're ticketed for, you don't have a transition anymore. It's about sustaining. And we know how that went for the last head coach who was here for more than a year and a half. And it was a great ride. But, you know, LaMarcus Joyner and Timmy Jernigan and Telvin Smith and Jameis and a lot of these guys.
Name all those studs,
right. But those first few I named bought in when there was nothing to buy. And they were the ones that helped move it when they arrived on campus from a ragtag operation to the ones that were swimming in confetti in Pasadena when it was all over. That is a special thing to represent the transition. And you're going to bond, that bond with Jimbo's forever. They're Knowles, but they're bonded with Jimbo forever because
they went
believed.
through it. They went through it.
But they believed what he was saying, and they saw it actually come out on the other side. So I think, you know, we'll see where the season goes. That's what Jordan Travis is for Mike Norvell. Mm-hmm. That's what Jared Verse is. Now, this is in this era, it's transfer portal guys who believe in him that helped expedite this process. But, you know, there is one player here today who's seen a lot of bad. And Kalen DeLoach is finally starting to see some good. Since he's been at Florida State, 80% of that pie is a dysfunctional mess or just bad results.
I talked to Kalen DeLoach this morning about Adam Fuller. And there were a lot of questions to Kalen about Kalen. Understandably.
Right.
I asked him about Adam Fuller because I think Adam Fuller is a quirky dude. I think Adam Fuller is kind of a quirky guy. And when I think about Adam Fuller as he relates to players, that too has been a very odd journey, and it's taken some time. Because he's quirky and because they're not from the same world, man. I mean, a lot of the kids he's coaching.
I get what world Adam's from.
Yeah.
Northeastern Irish. Yeah, like I get that.
He's not from the same world as a lot of the kids he's coaching. And sometimes it can be difficult to connect when you have zero in common other than the football. They have the football in common.
Yeah, it's getting strange as I get older because I'm closer in age to these guys that we're covering.
Yes.
But I look at him, like if I was to plug him into a high school classroom and he's a teacher, I would get him. I would like him. That would be my kind of teacher because he'd be strict, but he's weird, but I would get the weird.
Yeah.
But I also understand what you're saying. Most people in that classroom would not get him.
No.
But I would.
No.
I know exactly what he's about.
Well, I've watched that very carefully because you've got to find out whether a guy, like I've said on the airwaves numerous times, I have no doubt that Adam Fuller knows football. Like I've had long conversations with Adam Fuller about football, and we've gotten down into the muck of the game, right? Like he'll talk about why you do what you do and
he's
all
a
of
junkie.
it. Junkie. Loves it. Obsessed. Watches NFL Sundays.
Yep.
He goes back and tries to
watches NFL film.
Yeah, incorporate a lot of the things they're doing.
It's a part of his process, which was cool. We learned that.
That's right. Yes. So I have no questions that he's capable and he does that. Now, what's another thing that I say often on the airwaves? Good coaches get fired all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's more to coaching than the X's and O's. I know he knows the X's and O's.
Right.
You got to get kids to go out and play hard, play well, and execute what you're trying to do. You got to teach them. You got to get them to trust you. You got to get them to buy into the system because a lot of defensive football, by the way, is about sacrifice. What I'm sacrificing for you to make the play, what I'm doing so that you can make this play.
Yeah.
Well, you better damn sure believe in the defensive coordinator who's telling you what it is you're supposed to do and how to sacrifice. And I think that's taken time. That's another thing that we're searching for this year. Are they there? DeLoach talked glowingly about Adam Fuller when I asked him. He said, I like him. I like what he's telling us to do. I get him. You know, it's been a process, though. That didn't happen right away.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is, okay, so what does it mean, are you buying in? To me, the definition of that or the way to apply it is when you are emotionally in an adverse situation, if you're a player, it could be something bad is happening on the field during a game. You're getting embarrassed or you're panicking. Or on the practice field, you're being challenged. You're being coached hard and being challenged, and the message is something that you don't want to hear. When you're in those emotionally compromised situations, is his voice going to pierce through that fog? And can you hear him?
Right.
Because think about it. When you're going through really hard times or a panicky moment, Christy's voice, your wife's voice, is going to cut through that noise, and you're going to hear her.
Yeah.
But if it's like Joe Blow at your place of employment, I mean, not warchant.com, of course, but yeah, you don't have time for that. You're not going to listen. You might hear, but you're not going to listen. And that's, to me, what the buy-in is. When these guys have a bad drive or when he's challenging them in practice, are they going to hear what he's saying? And I think it's working. And Deloach knows better, too, than some of his teammates, because he's seen how bad coaching goes.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it's like a breath of fresh air.
Well, and also, I mean, we know how bad it was 2 years ago when I was talking about how there was a lack of coordination.
Yeah.
And so, Adam isn't out of the woods. This is an important year for him. And I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, I think I can tell you that the offense is going to be good. I think it is. And I think we know that the guys in charge of that offense, namely Alex Atkins and Mike Norvell, they're good at their jobs.
Yeah.
And they've got weapons. They're going to move the ball. We don't know how this is going to go for Adam Fuller. And it's an important season because I think the offense is going to do their job. If they get better, and they have gotten better every year, on the defensive side, if they get better again this year, they're going to win a lot of games.
Well, and that's the thing. I would like to put this out there. We've talked about it before, but officially on the record, if he gets it right this year and they live up to the expectations, it doesn't mean that they have to be world beaters, but, they do what they're supposed to do. We need to revisit this past season, the 2022 season, and give him credit that they were able to get results when they had basically no healthy bodies of any substance on the defensive line. Like, you found a way in those situations without a Fabian Levitt who's 100% and a Jared Verse who's on a pitch count, and they're having to manage his minutes essentially every practice. He can't develop. You're finding a way. Kevin Knowles is banged up since the word go. Amari Cooper completely regressed. You still find a way to get results and be a top 20 defense in some of the metrics. Like, if you're doing that with no pieces to work with, and then he does well this year, we got to look back at last year and say, you know what? That was
a good year.
It was a good year.
It was a good year
for him.
Yeah, I have maintained that the other reason we need confirmation is I'm not sure how much of what they did a year ago on the days that they played good defense was the direct result of them playing good defense.
Yeah.
I think you saw some anemic offenses at the time that we played them. Syracuse was dead in the water at the time we played them. Georgia Tech was garbage at the time that we played them. A lot of those lopsided wins last year were against teams that were having trouble moving the ball against air, if we're being honest. And because of that, and juxtaposed to the offenses who could really move the ball and had talent, and all of them did against Florida State when we faced them, you just don't know. You're kind of still, all right, let me see.
Correct.
Do something against somebody that can do something about it.
I'm not saying that we know yet, but I just want to open up to that possibility that there is the optimistic side.
We may be having that conversation. Absolutely. Chef Cameron Show broadcasting from the ACC Kickoff here in Charlotte. More in a moment.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
This is Patty Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're ready.
He's recording.
Why are you always saying your last name? It's Patty and Scott. Everybody knows Patty and Scott.
I don't know. This is Patty Wilson. This is. I am Patty Wilson.
What is the idea behind said promo?
It's for Patty's Playhouse. We're on Patty's Playhouse Saturdays at 11. Tune in. That's stupid. Just tune in. Saturdays at 11. Patty Wilson, Patty's Playhouse. House talk with a happy ending.
Each and every time.
Hey Tallahassee, it's Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. You're probably driving right now, which means you're surrounded by glass. Did you know that each piece is made differently? Your windshield is 2 sheets of glass with a thin plastic in between. This allows it to take an impact without going all the way through. Side and back glasses are typically tempered. This strengthening process is what allows them to be shattered in the event of emergency. Regardless of the glass or how it breaks, we can help. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. Better call Seminole.
Discover seasonal sensations full of passion and flavor at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. This summer, escape to your own Peruvian paradise in the capital city and experience handcrafted, colorful, refreshing cocktails like the Chilcano de Maracuyá, made with authentic pisco, mixed with lime juice, passion fruit, a splash of ginger ale, and bitters. Or enjoy a classic pisco sour, made from grapes produced in the nutrient-rich lands of Peru. At Café de Martín and El Bar, everything is handmade from fresh ingredients con amor y pasión, with love and passion. From the moment you open the doors, you're immersed in the culture and transported to Tallahassee's only upscale Peruvian culinary experience, full of surprises with every dish and every drink. It's Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open Monday through Saturday for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. A one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service.
Welcome in, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. We're live in Charlotte at the ACC Kickoff. Mike Norvell joins us now. Good to see you again.
No, it's great seeing you.
It's time, right?
It is time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, in the breakout earlier this morning, I could tell you're excited to watch this team and see what they can become. You know they're good. How good can they be? And that's part of the bigger picture here, because you come to the ACC Kickoff this year with very lofty expectations. The collective media has you guys perhaps winning the conference, going to the college football playoff. You've never shied away from those expectations. But have you taken the time to appreciate what this is as you enter the season, where you were from, how tough those first 2 years were to where you are now?
Well, I think the journey, it sets up to who you are, what you've gone through, be able to, your reflection, I think, is critical as whatever you do, to be able to reflect back, things that have worked, things that you got to continue to improve on, where you need to continue to push. And that was a big part of the summer. After the season, you have that time, but then as you get into summer, and you'll take a deep breath and think about the last few years, and it puts us in a position that we're excited about, and we have to go live it. And it's I love coaching this team. I love the guys that I get to be around, and I just want to see them maximize the potential that they have, and I believe that they do that. No limits to what we can accomplish.
Are there moments in practice when you see it? You talked about guys buying in, and you notice it in the work. You look for it in the work, I think was your quote. Do you see that? You see that like, oh, this guy gets it today. Something happened. I see it now. It's happening with him, and it happening more and more with more guys.
No, absolutely. And it's a daily choice. And, you never know, what situation is going to present itself where a guy gets to be the example. And that's one thing I try to challenge our team with is you never know where your actions are going to inspire somebody else. And it's what I try to implement and live, on a daily basis, is to be that for our team. But there's times where you see a player where it might be a challenging rep or it might be success. And maybe they have a great moment in practice or in a workout, and then you watch the next one. Is the next one set to be better? Are we still keeping the focus on the little things, on the fundamentals? It's one of the things that coming out of spring I was most proud of, is you saw, as I've mentioned many times, like Jordan and Jared and Johnny Wilson. Those were our most improved players.
Right.
And they are some of our best players. But when you see them, the attention to detail, when the fundamentals, the little things, when they are critically important to them and the application of the work, it gets exciting. And that's what we want to be, and that's where we got to continue to grow.
I'm curious, you talked about Jordan Travis glowingly, obviously. This is a kid that's come a long way, and you've watched that growth. You've helped engineer some of that. Is it suffice to say that's the most growth you've seen from a quarterback in your career? Because he went from a guy that a lot of people thought, well, he can get out of the way, he's a runner. He's a quarterback now. He can make all the throws as you described, and he is a refined quarterback at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, he's made tremendous strides, and I just believed in him. I believed in what I saw. It just, everybody has to go through, certain steps, and I knew what we were asking and going to ask him to do, and I believed it fit really well with his skill set. And it's just a repetition of that work, and believing it within yourself of what you can do. And I think Jordan has been a wonderful example of that. And, the growth that the outside world is getting to see is something that we take a lot of pride in, because, he's went through the journey.
The culture in the locker room is talked about. It seems to be very, very healthy. I've asked you this question in other ways before. How do you maintain something like that when you do have to bring in guys to fill spots from the portal? You bring in a guy who comes from a completely different culture, and he's a good player, you wouldn't be talking to him, but you need him to buy in almost immediately, hit the ground running to get into that locker room and keep things status quo.
Yeah, well, I mean, the standard doesn't change, and the expectations and the transparency in that. I tell recruits all the time, this program is not for everybody. It's just for the real ones, and it's for the right ones, and guys that are willing to embrace that. I mean, those are guys, when they come in, it doesn't mean it's going to be, there's not going to be a bump or there's not going to be a situation, but it serves as a great reminder, just as you get to go through those experiences together. And, we want like-minded individuals. Everybody's going to have their own unique personality. Like I want all those personalities too. Right. But, when you have this similar mindset and similar approach, and when guys are able to work together and, they care about each other, they care about what they represent, you get a chance to build something pretty special. And I think that's what we see, because everybody has their own unique path. And whether it's transfer, high school, guys that were here before I got here, I mean, we've all said yes. And that's what makes it pretty enjoyable.
In some ways, was last year almost perfect for you as a coach, because you had success and you needed to have success. People were waiting to see that breakout season, but you didn't win anything in terms of didn't win the division, didn't win the conference, didn't make the college football playoff. So you did enough to get some confidence, to have people believe, to take a big step forward. But you can then say to the guys, you got a lot more to do.
Absolutely. And you talk about the steps, and that's what we've done. We've taken positive steps within the program, and there's more steps to be taken. And it doesn't, whether it's the national, recognition or awareness of who we have. And, I tell people I want every player to be recognized, and be on the watch list, but you have to go do it. And it's a daily focus, individually, collectively as a team. And we all have those things that we aspire to do. It's a process and a journey that makes it worth it, and who you get to be around and do it with. And so, we have a team that's hungry. I mean, they embrace work, and, I think they embrace, the internal expectations. And that's all that matters to me, is that, the outside can say what it needs to say, the inside and what we believe and what we're willing to work towards, that's what's going to show up. And so, this is a team that, like I said, I'm excited to watch it play out this season.
Final thing, and I know you got to get going, you got a lot of these to do. Does having LSU first change anything about your approach in practice?
I'm excited about the stage. I'm excited about the opportunity. But in all reality, if we allow that to change it, then we're not living up to who we say we need to be. It needs to be about us. And you look a year ago, we opened up with an opponent before that game, and we had a great camp, and it put us in a position to achieve at a high level when we started. And we have a lot of respect for the opponent we're about to play, and LSU. It's defending SEC West champions. They got some very talented individuals, but it's still about us. It's about what we do. And if we will approach every day with that mindset and go and improve, then come kickoff, we'll be ready to put our best foot forward.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Go Noles.
All right, take care. That's Mike Norvell, the head coach at Florida State University. Should be able to say his name, talk to him enough. Opportunity to kind of look at that LSU game, Tom, I want to come back and respond to what Mike just had to say there. And I thought he'd say that, but I wanted him to say it because I wanted to see what kind of message he's preaching to the team about the importance of that game, or the fact that it looks back inward and you got to focus on yourself before you worry about anybody else. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, live from ACC Kickoff in Charlotte.
As our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember. So I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this too, it is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
It's good to catch up with Mike Norvell here in Charlotte. Always enjoy sitting down, talking with Coach. I think we've gotten to a place where we can have that dialogue. And something he said at the end of that dialogue was, we certainly respect the opponent, SEC West champion LSU. Yep. How could you not? He knows they're talented. He just saw them, and their successes on the field post that game against Florida State bears that out as well. And he knows they got better. The good news is Florida State got better, and so this should be another all-time good game. I mean, if both teams play well and don't turn it over, this should be an all-time good game. But I wanted to see if he would come back and tell me it's about us, and he did. Yeah. And, the reason I thought he would was that his players said that this morning.
Yep.
They all brought up that it's about us. They weren't disrespectful to LSU, but they just said, look, we're not changing the way we prepare because LSU's a name.
Yeah.
We're going to prepare the same for everybody because it's about us.
Yeah, so I kind of fumbled through a question late to Jared Verse today about Will Campbell, the left tackle for LSU. That was a true freshman making his first start against Jared Verse, and obviously the numbers that Jared had in that game as a fully healthy player were massive. And he said, I've studied the film since then. He's a completely different player, but so am I. To your point, always bringing it back home. But I found that interesting that he already has studied that kid's film. So he's already versed in what Will Campbell's going to bring to the table, what LSU offensive line, the entirety of it is going to bring to the table. He's been doing his homework in the offseason. He says he's a different guy. They're a different team, but he's different and he's better too.
Well, I think it's important if Jared Verse wants to be a top 10 pick to be different. I think that he was too much of a one-trick pony, and it was a hell of a trick a year ago. But these guys on that level that dominate and get paid and go in the first round as defensive ends in the National Football League, they're guys that can beat you in a variety of ways. And because they know that the tackles up there are so good. I used to do a Sirius XM show with a former Tennessee Titan offensive lineman, and I had an opportunity to ask him off the record, what was it that you learned, because he made the Pro Bowl. He was a really good player. And I said, what's the difference between college and pros? And he says, in the pros, first of all, everybody who gets to the NFL is good. That's a given. So they have the talent.
Yep.
He's like, secondly, they're all, if we're talking about down linemen, offense or defense, they're all incredibly strong. So you're not going to have really an advantage there. They're all athletic. They're all strong. Okay, we got it.
Yeah, short of being Aaron Donald, you're not going to outstrength somebody.
Correct, unless you're a freak of nature. And they exist. Those people exist.
Even Vita when he's healthy.
Right. Yeah. So those are difference makers. Those are outliers, though. Everybody's big and strong in the NFL. Everybody's athletic to be in the NFL. All of those things. He said it's technique. And he said it's the ability to adjust to what somebody's doing to you. Because everybody is going to have a game plan coming in. They've watched your tape. They see what you do well, what you do poorly, and they're going to force you to beat them doing something you don't want to do. And if you don't have a secondary move or a third move, you're done. The day is over. He said, I've played against guys that I tested because I knew what they wanted to do, and I took it away the first time they rushed. I came back up the next time. The next passing play, which was a long developing play, I thought, see if he does it again. and he does it again, and then I stop it again. He goes, if he does it a third time, he doesn't have another move, and it's over.
Yeah, right.
He's like, the great ones, though, they have another move, and if you stone that one, they got another one, and then they start combining them. Jared Verse has to do that this year.
Correct.
I'm not saying he won't, but he has to.
Well, and that's a luxury afforded to him. I know the name has already come up in today's show, but to have Jermaine Johnson, who is, I'm sure he's at the facility right now.
Yeah, working. He loves being back there.
The Jets camp's open. He's still in Tallahassee. I'll be up there next week. I'm going to hang out with my guys in Tallahassee. But to have somebody who is going through that process right now, the first-round pick, hasn't splashed yet, but as I've said before, when I've checked mentions on Jets social media about Jermaine Johnson, you cringe, you wonder what it's going to be, and the responses are, why aren't you playing more? They got to play you more. You're awesome. So they like what he's doing and what he's building into in that market for a very good defense and an interesting head coach. But if you've got that experience, you're hanging out at Florida State like he's eating food on the field during spring practice, and he's giving his wisdom, imparting his wisdom down the line. This is how a program is built.
Right.
This is how a culture is handed down from class to class. And specifically at that position, you know, Jared Verse, I'm sure, has approached Jermaine Johnson and said, what does it take? You were a first-round pick. What am I missing? What do I need to do better? You've been there. You know it. It's just Florida State is going to be like that again in the not-too-distant future, where you have guys that are on the team right now fielding texts and phone calls from younger men that aren't even at Florida State or freshmen right now saying, what's it like up there? What do I need to do better?
Yeah.
This is starting to happen again.
It's exciting, and that's how you pass it on, and it's how you pay it forward, and it's how a program sustains excellence.
Yep.
Is that you have this want to come back and the need to teach, and you know Jordan.
Wait till you hear that.
Yeah, so Jordan Travis is telling you a lot of things, and one of them that occurs over and over and over again just warms my heart, and that is how much they love these coaches.
Yep.
That these coaches don't change, that these coaches want what's best for you, that these coaches, they may get on you, and they got to tell these players that are coming in, hey, you're going to get yelled at. This is hard stuff, and these guys are going to pick you apart, and they're going to challenge you, but it's because they love you. It's because they want what's best for you. Now, Jordan Travis is going to tell that to player after player after player that comes in.
Yeah.
And that's a big damn deal.
You'll hear that in the interview coming up next hour. He says it. It's just – and you can feel it. Sitting at this table as that interview is conducted and he shares that message, you can feel that he means the appreciation that he has.
Oh, I was touched. I was literally touched. I thought that was awesome. He really opened up. You guys are going to hear it, as Tom just said, next hour. Jordan Travis.
News.
It's really good. That's the best he's been with us. And the other thing about that is I think he was completely genuine when he started talking about how much those coaches love him and how much they care and how much they love him back. It warms your heart because, you know, that's how culture's built.
Correct. And all you got to do now is the small task of beating an LSU or a Clemson and parlaying it into something.
Go win games.
So that you can build on this and make it a reality for somebody else. But to the point of the first segment, it's kind of a theme, I guess. Mike Norvell appreciates these guys because they're the transitional ones. They're the ones that believe. But the players feel the same way.
Well, you said it, and you're spot on. He'll never have another one of these unless he goes to a different school.
Right.
I mean, he never – this is it. This is the one. Like, you go from being a bad program and a bad football team to the struggles week in and week out to try to get kids to buy in. Then you begin to see little signs, little moments of evidence that they have gone – even after losses, that's where you really find it. It's after the losses.
But think also about, it could be the staff too. It could be the roster from a year or two ago. You go through a pandemic with a lot of these kids, and you've got to get on virtual Zooms and do all this stuff that he had to put on a plexiglass face mask to coach. Mm-hmm. Remember, he didn't put on a mask. He put on that huge thing. He looked like he was almost going into a beehive or something. But think about it in our own lives. You go through the pandemic, there's a short list of stuff you did. You're going to get asked this the rest of your life. What'd you do? Well, I hadn't gotten married to my wife yet, but we lived together. I was lucky enough to be able to go into a radio studio every day. We were separated by glass.
Right.
So we could actually drive somewhere on the ghost-like streets of Tallahassee and have that outlet. We had golf. But these are things that are very special from that period of time. So throw in, beyond the fact that it's a transitional period for Mike Norvell, they also went through something that nobody's ever gone through before. And these are the people that are going to always be etched in his mind. So if you can pay the freaking thing off, everybody's like, great, Tom, it's warm and fuzzy.
No, it's great.
If you can pay it off, it's going to be all that more special.
Well, and I get the sense that they feel like they have so much more to do. You know, that kind of resonates with me from all the things that Jared Verse said when we were in breakouts to Jordan Travis. Now Jared's a little bit more boastful than most,
but they don't look like they're happy to be here. As though it's like this is the punctuation point. Like they're still, the sentence has more words to be written.
Well, they strike me as kids who are ready to get to camp. They're ready. Yeah. They're ready for this get started because you play it up in your mind over and over and over again. I mean, they know how soon that LSU game is going to be played, and there's no worse feeling. This is true of giving a speech or playing a football game. There's no worse feeling than feeling ill prepared. You cannot
cold sweat.
Yeah, and you cannot be successful if you feel that way. So the sooner they can get to work and get down to brass tacks, the better. That's how you feel as a player. Like you'll be nervous, but it's a good kind of nervous when you take the field if you've done the work.
Yeah. Who was it a few years ago? I forget. It was, at the media day, the old school way that we used to do media days.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, just turn on your television or whatever it was. Like, I forget. It was a defensive back, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Just get ready, turn on your television. Here it comes. And it's like, that could not be more opposite of a sentiment than we're feeling right now. They're not saying wait and see. They're saying, can we be done so I can get to camp? I just want to get to camp. I want to go work.
I love it.
It's just a completely different feeling.
It's got to be infectious, too, when your best players are doing that. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV here in Charlotte, North Carolina for ACC Kickoff.
Let's take a minute to imagine all the things you can accomplish with help from Southeast Portable Buildings. Are you a hoarder? Hoard some more. Get a storage shed. Mother-in-law moving in with you? Put her in a shed out back. I'm kidding. Still working on that engine that you're going to finish from last summer? Move it out to a new workspace with Southeast Portable Buildings. From she sheds and man caves to repair shops and trophy rooms, the possibilities are only limited to your imagination. Visit Southeast Portable Buildings today.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. Well, you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.
Yeah, at the end of the last segment, it occurred to me that I did not tell everybody who it was that I was talking about. Brad Hopkins, B-Hop, as he's known. I think he sometimes still does some stuff with SiriusXM, but he was an offensive lineman that I was referring to that I worked with. And his stories about technique are awesome. And his stories about busts are awesome because that's a fun conversation to have with somebody to say, hey, man, now that you're not playing and we're not on the air live, I just want to ask you, who was the biggest bust you guys ever brought in, and how soon did you know it? Because I've heard Booger McFarland talk about this before, that he was talking about being with the Bucs, and he's like, I don't want to name the guy, but we drafted somebody in the third round, second round, whatever it was, and he was heralded. A lot of people thought he was going to start year one. He's like, the first day of practice, he's like, I looked at the other defensive players, and we're like, this guy can't play. He can't play a lick. He's like, it's a terrible feeling. You're looking at a guy, you think to yourself, he may not make the team. We drafted him in the first pick of the second round. And you just know it. So my point was that everything gets magnified at the next level, and every technique, every little advantage that you can have that doesn't involve speed and strength, because that's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's all that stuff. And Jared Verse, a lot of people project that guy to be a top 10 pick. And I think he's going to have to show all of those moves, all of those weapons at his disposal in order for that to happen. I'm really rooting for him to do that. I think that's an amazing story to come from Albany and to be a guy that, the first interview I ever did with him, was before his first season, obviously here, and we sat down with him. And
it was a video interview. I remember this.
It was great. And one of the things I liked about it, Tom, was that he talked about the process, that his mother would tape all of the coaches and teams and universities that were interested in him on the wall, and it was like a resume.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, well, here's what we thought of these guys, and this was their record last year, and there's the strength of the school. Like they had that up there. Like if you want to major in dance, this is a good school to go to. If you want to major in whatever, And so I thought that was fascinating that they went through that process and that they would sit there and look at all the names, and they went back to Mike Norvell. And I asked about we talked to Mike, obviously, this hour. I asked about getting guys to fit in when they transfer. How do you do it? The standard never changes, and we tell them. We just tell them before they come here. Yeah. I think it's fascinating because
it's not for everybody.
Well, it's worked. It has worked. Think about it. All of the people they've brought in. How's it even possible that you could get this many guys to say yes to a very difficult task? Well, I'll tell you why. Kids want to be disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids want to be disciplined.
Just look at the practices we go to.
They don't know it. Yeah. I didn't know it. Nobody knows it. But when you're not, and anything can happen, and it's willy-nilly, and the results are up and down and inconsistent, then you realize what changes that. I want to know that every day that I come to practice, we're going to be doing this, 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 and this because it makes me better, and I can count on the guy next to me doing those things, and the coach is teaching me those things.
And there's some days that they deviate from a schedule, the grand schedule of the 26 periods, or some days they'll go shorter in terms of periods to save the time and use it later. We get that. But their base of their practice is the base of their practice. They have a core set of things that they do every day. And it's not just that the offensive line goes out to the sled and hits the sled. Every team does that. But you're talking about a set of drills that they have that they do to get warm in the beginning, and then they go right to trench work. It's individuals, receiver versus defensive back. Like there's a flow to the way they do things that has been remarkably consistent. So if you're a player and you're showing up, I mean, you've done it before, whether it's with a personal trainer or there's certain days at Orange Theory Fitness. I'm not even trying to make this a live read, but
Good job, though.
But there's a code for a certain day. We're going to be doing these things.
Oh yeah, some of those days are tougher than others. Yes,
they are. And when you hear it, ouch! But your mind knows what to expect.
Yeah, let's get better today.
The not knowing is a harder thing, but if you know what's coming, it's okay. This is a beast, but I know the definition of the beast. And so it's not a surprise to me. They don't show up on the practice field. Mike's like, hey, you know what? Let's try this today. Like, that's just not the way it works.
Yeah.
And that helps foster the culture of the discipline that you're talking about. Because it's not just the practice field.
No,
it's everything else.
That's what I'm saying. It's everything else.
It's all that stuff.
Everything else. And, I remember asking him about, well, what are you going to do to set the parameters? And he said, well, first thing is I believe that every football player, one of the first people they see should be on the football staff. So like when you wake up in the morning, you're going to come here and we're going to have you do this, this, and this, whether it's like you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, it's going to be about diet, but it's going to be our people, right? Our fitness and nutrition people. So that's the first thing you see when you start your day. Then you're going to come here and I'm going to sit down and tell you what we're working on today or whatever it is that you need to get better at. So now you've had an interaction with a position coach, you've had an interaction with a nutritionist, but your day has begun specifically with a group that is in it together. Now you go out and take your classes. Now you go out and do what you got to do, and you come back and we have practice, whatever it might be. But your mornings are the same all the time. You're surrounded by people who are in it together.
Yeah,
and he's done a great job with that. That consistency, really, you see it with the way that the players kind of talk about them with passion.
And then back to Jared Versman specifically, I really am excited to see, provided that they get all of the players that they need, waivers and otherwise, to be healthy and ready to go. Adam Fuller, there's one thing that he does that I've always thought was good, and that's the way he mixes the defensive fronts, the different alignments, the personnel usages, the twists, all that kind of stuff up front. It's exotic enough, and it keeps people on their toes. The moment that I saw the first year that we had, the only year that we had Kier and Jermaine, and they're lining up next to each other when they needed to get a pressure. And, I mean, an offensive line doesn't know what the hell to do with that. Like, yeah, that's going to work. Now this year with all of these pieces, Jared being the centerpiece.
They can be multiple. Yeah.
You could put a whole lot of guys. It could be Braden Fisk. It could be Dennis Briggs. It could be Patrick Payton. I mean, all of these little combinations they can run at people, really fascinating.
An opportunity to be multiple, an opportunity to do a better job of creating turnovers because you're playing with leverage, an opportunity to, I think, be more aggressive, because you have a better depth of athlete. I listen, this should happen this year. I guess I'm a broken record right now about this defense. We're not saying it's not going to happen. We are saying we're watching very, very closely because this is the make or break season for Adam Fuller and this defensive staff. Now, Mike Norvell may not agree with that. It may not, nothing may happen. I don't know. I'm just saying this for me, because of what you just said, they have the people. There's really not a reason.
Now, the one thing I would say, if their first opponent puts up a lot of points.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. It's LSU. They're good. But they have the most elusive quarterback in football besides ours.
Agreed. So that's not an automatic strike. If Clemson puts up a lot of points, I'm going to be pissed. That's a young quarterback, man. I understand it's their building. What the hell are we doing?
Yes.
LSU, understood. Clemson, not understood. They could put up 24, but if they put up 38 or 40, no, man.
No. Well, I'm glad you cut him off at 38, though.
Well, but you know what I mean. That could be if it's 41-38 and we win. I'm be like, come on now, dude.
Yeah,
that's Cade Klubnik. I understand he might turn into this.
He
thing,
may be great, yeah.
But this is, I mean, if you're going to count Duke as a real start against a real opponent, maybe his fourth. Come on, man.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Hour number 2, fourth coverage. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show from Charlotte, North Carolina for the ACC Kickoff.
Your existing hot tub? Now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Comfort System call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails, and a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Comfort System call away. Parker Services. Comfort System call away.
Hey, this is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Derry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. The best way to start betting smarter is to sign up for a free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe.
Discover seasonal sensations full of passion and flavor at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. This summer, escape to your own Peruvian paradise in the capital city and experience handcrafted, colorful, refreshing cocktails like the Chilcano de Maracuyá, made with authentic pisco, mixed with lime juice, passion fruit, a splash of ginger ale, and bitters. Or enjoy a classic pisco sour made from grapes produced in the nutrient-rich lands of Peru. At Café de Martín and El Bar, everything is handmade from fresh ingredients con amor y pasión, with love and passion. From the moment you open the doors, you're immersed in the culture and transported to Tallahassee's only upscale Peruvian culinary experience, full of surprises with every dish and every drink. It's Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Espositos Shopping Center. Open Monday through Saturday for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Want a Zaxby's Big Zax snack meal for free? With free fingers, free fries, free Zax sauce, even free Texas toast? All you have to do is download the Zaxby's app. Did you download it yet? Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Real Talk fact number 44. Banging your head against the wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station. Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, as we broadcast from Charlotte, North Carolina for the ACC Kickoff. Good times, good times. In fact, at the time that I'm talking to you, getting ready to talk to Pat Narduzzi of Pitt.
Yep.
You know, he's been there 10 years.
That's crazy. 10? I would have guessed 6.
10 years. Hard to believe.
Yeah, there he is walking in the distance.
Just like it is hard to believe that Zaxby's is so delicious.
Ooh.
Oh, buddy. I got you that time.
You got it.
That kind of delicious.
I can't believe you beat me to it.
I've been tired of you jumping the gun and getting me like that. Yeah. Juicy chicken sandwiches, platters for days.
Hey, man, we're on the road back
sauce.
home.
I know. On the road back home. Good times. So Zaxby's, of which there are 62 in Tallahassee. It's an amazing thing to go by every corner and see a Zaxby's. Just pull on in there, get you one of those chicken sandwiches, and think to yourself, this guy here, this guy Danny who runs all these Zaxby's, he's a diehard diehard Nole. 18 years.
18 years.
Golden booster or whatever.
Just tailgates. Don't worry about it anymore. You don't have to sweat it. Go get you a platter.
Yeah.
And then your job is done. It's literally
easy.
all you got to do is swing by, get enough sauces and napkins, you got the platter, and then
Lots
you're
of
a hero.
napkins because it's so juicy and tasty.
That's correct. That's correct.
Zaxby's. All right. There it is. 62 of them. Can't miss them. They're everywhere. Well, we're kind of wrapping up here, man. What do you think? What do you think about what we learned today? This hour, you guys are going to hear Jordan Travis.
Yep.
It's the next segment, in fact, that you're going to hear Jordan Travis. I liked my conversation with Jordan Travis.
Yep.
I really did.
He was impressive in the breakout room again.
Yeah.
I wonder that there's fatigue to today, and that's only natural. There's fatigue for us on the other side.
Oh, big time.
But he's had to do a breakout in the morning at 9:15. He's had to do interviews, the stage on TV, the 30-minute TV panel, and 45. But the 45 comes last. So to me, if you're going to show that you're less interested, that would be the time when you're running out of gas. He was engaged the whole time.
It's the home stretch, right? You get maybe excited about finally.
Because this is the last one. Maybe you hold on to it. It makes it a little bit more special. They gave him his name placard for it. He was actually kind of touched by that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He is really the story today, and you're going to hear from him again. You're going to like the interview. It's good. Short, sweet, but to the point. He's great in it. I think he's the story, man. You know, we thought Jared Verse might take it over, but it's Jordan Travis. There's a calm confidence, a leadership style that's emerging now. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He knows he's the guy. He's well aware of the expectations, but he's not in any way threatened by those expectations. He remains unfettered by all of that. I've been really, really impressed.
And he was really, really impressed with the offseason the team had. You can tell that he's dialed in. He did laugh at this one guy's question. I don't know who this guy is. He shall remain nameless. But every year I'm like, oh, it's that guy. He's going to ask a question that's going to make somebody go, what?
Yeah.
And he did to Jordan. He said something to the effect of, Jordan, you know, last year you had your first taste of a winning team. Do you feel good about this year's team being a winning team? And Jordan's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're going to be all right.
We're going to be all right. Yeah. He seems confident in the work they've put in. I get it. These guys are coached well to be extensions of Mike Norvell and stay on message. They've got a department for that to stay on
absolutely.
message. But it's different when you know a kid is reading off of a script in his mind versus the light that they have and their look that they give you when they talk about they're ready and they're prepared. They're ready. They are. In Jordan's eyes, they are.
Yeah, and he's eager to get out there. I keep repeating that. I think that they're ready to go to work because it's got to be a lot of fun when you're putting the pieces together, when you're getting to watch how you make the pie, right? This is it. They're going to have a lot of fun. They're going to work really hard. But the fun is only when you trust the guy next to you. It's only when you really know that they've put in as much work as you have. And that's kind of the other theme is they've talked a lot about work, a lot about sacrifice, a lot about a willingness for the guy next to you to do the same.
Correct.
I enjoyed Kalen DeLoach too, by the way. He's a fun kid. He's this is not necessarily his setting, but he was funny. He got better over time, I noticed, with each passing interview. I also just like that he and Tatum are very, very close. You did a good job asking questions. People will see that video of his relationship with Tatum Bethune and how it is that they kind of work together and watch film together and emerge from there. And it took a little time to figure out what was being asked of them. And again, I keep circling back to this. You know, hopefully we see it on Saturdays.
So interestingly, I was wondering, because you asked him about Adam Fuller earlier in the day, and he says that he loves him, right? And Coach Shannon as well. I asked Kalen about, does he watch film with Adam? And he really doesn't. That was the answer. He's like, no, I watch
position
Coach
coach usually.
I think he was trying to help me and say, like, that's not my position coach, but that's not my question. My question was, what's that dude like in the film room? I want to know, because I bet it gets quiet in that room when Adam is directing film.
Yeah. Adam's funny, though. I do think that he's a film buff, as you know. This is what he does. He's a film rat, I should say. It's probably only every once in a while that he's like, oh, hey, come in here. I want to show you something. Because what he would do is he would give that to Randy and say, hey, talk to him about this. Talk to him about this. You know, that's how that would work. And then Randy, his position coach, is going to say, hey, listen, coach wants me to talk to you about, your first step here or what did you see here, that kind of stuff. But that's the group we're going to be watching closely. If they're healthy, they'll play well. I think those two will. What do you have behind it? What do you have behind them? That the only question marks for this team.
Did he bring up Omar Graham or
he did?
DJ? Okay.
That didn't come up.
All right.
And I think the thing is that's what I worry about. I worry they don't have enough depth there. I worry that if anybody gets dinged up, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But if that happens, I'm not real sure that they have everything they need there. Not yet. And that's a position that we're going to have to continue to build.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the number one question this fall camp, of its kind, which is who's after your first wave. At receiver, you might not know the answer, but the reason you don't know the answer is because there are a lot of capable candidates at wide receiver. Jordan was asked, actually, you'll wince at one and you'll smile at the other. He was asked, who's not talked about enough? And the first name he said was Ja'Kai Douglas, which I know make you wince.
That doesn't
I'm happy
wince.
about,
I'm just whatever. Okay, yeah.
I'm on that Ja'Kai team. But then Deuce Spann was the second name they brought.
Oh,
there you go.
All right.
That
what
Deuce is
I
not
want
talked
to
about
hear.
enough. But you've got those two. You got Winston Wright. You got Dre Jacobs. You got Cantron. It goes on and on and on. At linebacker, it does not go on and on and on.
No.
Not yet, at least. But I thought Omar Graham had a good finish to camp, and I thought DeMarco Ward was surprisingly adept for how early he is in his career as well. So does Omar Graham take another leap forward? Does Blake Nicholson come in and make an impact? Your guy Brian Courtney. But I think Omar Graham is probably the lead candidate. I know that DJ Lundy might get more snaps, but I'm talking about the lead candidate to be an impact player. I think right now it's got to be Omar.
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting is you brought up Kalen DeLoach, and who else did he bring up? He brought up Blake Nicholson. He kind of said with a wry smile, and it really made me laugh.
Did he?
He said, he's a little faster than you'd think.
He did not.
He did, and it cracked me up. I smiled, too. He knew what he was doing, but it was good. He did. He said he's a little bit faster than you'd think. I was like, okay, man. Well done. And then he brought up Brian Courtney. I think he was actually asked about Brian Courtney, and he said that Brian is just trying to soak it in. He's in there asking a lot of questions. And but he said he's got the size and speed to do it. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Intel. Yeah, I don't know how big an impact those two players in particular will have this year at linebacker. Hopefully some. Blake talked about being able to cover, and that was his specialty. And if he's a really good athlete, and he is, by the way, all you got to do is watch his film. You can see he's a good athlete. He's a two-way player.
Yep.
So here's what I'd say. Maybe you only need him 12 to 15 snaps a game this year as a freshman in obvious cover situations, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know how much we can expect to see.
That's the thing. Well, the other part of it is, and this was a comment on our YouTube page. Won't shout those out very often, but Ralph, one of our guys, Spartan from Hawaii, great guy. His comment, we had a discussion about this very thing, and he said, well, it's not only important to get the guys rest, but then to develop the next wave if you get those blowouts in. If you take care of 6 to 8 teams. And I don't know if they would exceed 4 games for Blake Nicholson, or I wonder if they think he's just too good of a player to not put out there and exceed the 4. But anytime there's a chance to develop him early, Southern Miss, Boston College are 2 early opportunities.
Get games you can.
Get his ass out there so that maybe in November he could help you for that stretch against Pitt, Miami, and Florida.
Well, and that is the best part about the non-LSU Clemson games. Most of them, you're going to overwhelm those teams. Not all. I'm not trying to say they're all cakewalks.
Yeah.
But most of them, you're going to have a really distinct talent advantage, and that gives you that opportunity to play more guys. And there's nothing like game reps. You cannot replicate it in practice. You can do everything you want in terms of a rep, in terms of a teaching moment, in terms of being out there with a player and trying to get his mind right. What does he see, all that. But when you're out on the field, the speed of everything happens just a little bit differently, and your nerves are up, the tension is high, the adrenaline is rolling. So you can get those kids indoctrinated so that next year when they come back and they have to play a much bigger role, they're very comfortable when they step foot between the lines when the lights are on.
Yeah, and again, when you're talking about the next waves of players, it's just these guys look like they are calm because they've seen things that reassure their confidence level about the now and the future. Every one of them has talked about a younger player today, too. Like Jared Verse talked about Lamont Green, who got a little banged up in spring, but he's taken him under his wing, and he sees what's next for him. He's talked about Jaden Jones, who obviously is coming off of an injury as a JUCO transfer, but he's talked about younger players. Blake Nicholson has come up from your linebacker. Jordan Travis has talked about, the panoply of guys that they have on offense that are young. And they do so with a calm in their eyes, not a concern like, well, he's got to get it together. Because you can tell the nonverbal cues. You're very good at that. That's what you did with Jimbo for so long. You play poker with him when he was in a press conference. These guys, the way that they just look and present, that they have seen talent across the board in the now and the future, it leaves me ready to go, get in the car, go home, but in a good place where I'm thinking, okay, they're not concerned. They believe it because they've seen it.
All of the interviews today, whether it be with Coach Mike Norvell, whether it be with a Heisman candidate like Jordan Travis, or whether it be with Kalen DeLoach or Jared Burris, these guys are the veterans that you expect them to be.
Yep.
The confidence for a team that won 10 games is evident. The sense of unsettled, unfinished business, it's there too.
Yes.
It's a laser-like focus.
That was the question you asked Mike. You didn't do anything. I thought that was funny. On the one hand, you won the games and you proved it, but you didn't win anything.
I said you didn't win anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. I almost cringed when I heard myself say it. Just because
but he took it. He knew what you meant.
Yeah. You didn't win it. You didn't win the division. I said you didn't win the division.
And he was like, "Yeah, you're damn right. That's an asset to us."
Well, I
motivation.
think it's huge that he had it. He had it made, man. He got the best of both worlds for last year. He proved he could win games.
Yep.
He proved that the process is working. He proved that the players had bought in. He bought another year of confidence from the fan base, perhaps donations and the like that you need that comes with winning some games, and enthusiasm is elevated. And they lost the games that they needed to win in order to win the division and the conference.
Correct.
So there it is.
Yeah, to me, I thought, and this is what I said coming out of the bowl game was, turn on that tape for the defense and both lines of scrimmage, really. Both lines of scrimmage.
That's the big takeaway of the last two games.
These
Florida
are 6 and 7 teams.
Yeah.
These teams finish under 500, and you got pushed around.
And some of them have some bad losses.
And that is a Vandy, good Christmas.
Right.
But that's perfect. That's perfect. You came out of it on the other side. Jordan had to be Superman in the one game, and the other's a bowl game. It was kind of weird finish, kind of fluky with the fumble. But you know what? Turnovers, they're allowed to go your way too. You win both football games. And that's great, guys. 25th 10-win season in our program's history, and you did it. You know what else you did? You struggled mightily against 2 6 and 7 football teams at the end of the year. And you think that that's going to fly next year if we're trying to do the things that we're trying to do. It's not. So get your stuff together.
Yeah, it was close.
It's
close, but you're fired up.
I got fired up.
Yeah, I think I just think that they're ready to play that LSU game. It's funny.
Yep.
They can't talk about it, but they're so ready to get it on with LSU again. And I think again it's revelatory because you're playing like athletes. It's speed for speed, size for size, talent for talent. And I'm not saying that you lose that game, you pack it in, you're not as good as you thought. But
you could lose that game and feel very good about the things to come. Now you would have to win the Clemson game, but there's a manner in which you lose that football game. You go, oh, they're going to be fine. We've got ourselves a.
My old coworker Rick Ballou was next to us earlier today, and I heard him talking on his show, and he said, Florida State could lose those 2 games, and that wouldn't be good. But if you're really Florida State, if you're really back to being Florida State, then you don't lose to teams like Wake Forest. You
Correct.
Don't lose to NC State anymore. You don't lose to Pitt. You don't lose these games. So if they do lose those 2 games, they're going to be against top 10 teams, top 15 teams. One of them's on the road. They have talent. There's no shame. How would they respond? I'm not trying to preface this as, hey, guys, get ready to lose 2 games. I'm just saying it's a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
And your season wouldn't be over. It would feel like it.
Yeah.
I think Florida State fans would feel, pretty down in the dumps.
You'd have to sit on that for a bye week.
Yeah,
right after.
It hurts.
And then you'd have Virginia Tech.
Where's your head at?
And Syracuse.
Where's your head at? Do you come back out and play like a bat out of hell? Remember, when they lost the three straight games a year ago, I came on the air and said they'll win out. I think they're going to win their remaining games.
You did. That's true.
I think they'll win the remaining games because there was something different about their intestinal fortitude and toughness. Now, I didn't – they were lacking in
some way
areas.
They fought back against Wake.
Mm-hmm.
And, if that goes on another 10 football minutes, I think they win the football game.
I think they win the game. Well, if you have a pick right in your hands and –
shouldn't have lost the NC State game. That one stings me a little bit different.
It's a bad loss.
And the Clemson game, it's a situational issue inside of 5 minutes of the first half. I mean, it's the 4th down decision. Jordan makes a terrible throw and then the sack fumble. Those are 2 things that killed you.
Yeah, I felt like Clemson ran the ball whenever they wanted to as well.
But you could have gone score for score with them,
Oh, you might have made it a shootout. I don't know if we would have won it, but you could have turned it into a wild shootout. I want to see Florida State go into Clemson and just be the better team.
Yeah.
Just be the better team. Like I want to look out on that field and go, you know what? We got better players.
In your gut, do you feel that's within reach? Is that feasible?
To win that game there?
To be the better team. You could lose in situations like the LSU game. They were the better team.
They were the much better team.
They were the
much better team, yeah.
Could you go to Clemson and do that?
I think you could.
I think so, too.
I think you could. I just wonder.
Not perfect. Not perfect.
It's the only real atmosphere
better.
besides Doak Campbell Stadium in the ACC. It's the only one where it plays a part. It is something that matters.
Yeah.
And they know that we're good again. They saw the last 2 years we were getting closer, and they know it.
It's like we're on their radar without beating them,
Right.
which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Usually you get on somebody's radar when you rise up and surprise them.
Right. So they know. They're like, oh, no. They're good again. We got to play.
And they could prepare for it for the month. They got nothing after Duke that first week.
They're not going to half-step. They're going to be ready for us, and you just watch. That'll get turned into a night game, and it will be – how do you handle it? But these are the games that if you're taking the next big step and you're a national championship contender, you weather that. That's the Jimbo game.
Yep.
That's the game walking out of the tunnel where our guys had –
he embraced those, didn't
he had hate in his eyes. It was beautiful.
Same thing for Miami every year. Even though Miami was down, he had hate in his heart for Miami.
Well, and it was just awesome to watch when we came out of that tunnel. You and I were on the field for that. And watching that, seeing, that's the Wilder flexing. That's the whole thing, man.
Yep.
Jimbo staring at his notes. That's everybody like, let's get it on. It's like they knew a secret that nobody else in the room knew. They knew, and he told me that week, we're going to beat their ass. We're going to beat
know.
He did know that. He said that. We're going to beat their ass.
But it was different than the Oklahoma game where he knew that and he was
wrong. It was false bravado.
Yeah.
But this was, he knew it all the way through.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I get that moment with Mike this year before a big game. If he gives me the.
I know you tell me, but would you tell us? Would you tell the world?
At the right time. At the right
on
time.
Saturday after it's too late.
Hey,
pregame show.
Jordan Travis is coming up. It's a fun interview. He's great. He's next. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Use the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Some people call me Paul because I work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Everyone that works here will proudly answer to the name Paul. One of the things I love about my job is that I get to help people fix their problems every day. If you have pests in your home and you're like 99.9% of the people I deal with, you want them gone, not tomorrow, but right now. It always puts a smile on my face to hear the reaction of a customer when I tell them we'll have someone out there in a couple of hours. At Paul's, I get the privilege of making your environment safer and more healthy for your family and pets. And because Paul's provides a same-day service guarantee with minimal wait, we get to begin the process right after I receive the call.
If you live in Leon County and call us by noon, Paul's Pest Control will be out by 5, guaranteed. We're a local company, and it's our mission to help keep Tallahassee area customers comfortable and free from the problem that pests bring. And we do so with treatments that are friendly to our environment for the elimination of termites and any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hi, everybody. It's Ed Dean, Florida's #1 statewide radio talk show, now in Tallahassee afternoon drive from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Yes, highly entertaining, fast-paced, never boring. We always give you the story behind the story when you catch the Ed Dean radio show. And we are ready to go Tallahassee daily, 5 to 6 p.m. It's the Ed Dean radio show on Real Talk 93.3 FM, WVFT.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brainwater, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots coffee.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSU.
Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, live from ACC Kickoff here in Charlotte. We're joined now by Florida State starting quarterback Jordan Travis, who we'll get a good chance to cover next week as we get underway with camp. Jordan, I know everybody talks about the journey. I'm kind of curious about just talking ball for a second. I remember interviewing your brother when he was here playing baseball. Everybody from Mike Norvell, who's right next to you right now, and Kenny Dillingham going back, describe your ability to check into right plays. And they say you're exceptional at recognizing what you're seeing and getting us into right plays, quote unquote, getting us, as they said. What are you looking at? When you come to the line of scrimmage, who are you looking at?
I'm starting off, Coach Norvell, we always talk about the defensive line first. What we're getting, we got a 3 technique, 5 technique, 7, and so on. It starts there. Coach Norvell prepares me very well, and Coach Tokar's prepare me. It's all about preparation before games like that. So they give me what I need to go over, man, and I go over it and study pretty hard. And we go to linebackers and obviously the roof up top and what we're getting from safeties and spins and what coverage we're getting. There's a lot that goes into playing quarterback, man, and I love it.
When did the light bulb go off for you? Do you ever have a day where you came off the practice field and you went, it slowed down, it's easy? Or you kind of look back and realize, oh, I got it. I know this. I can do this.
I would say the Florida game, I'm not sure when it was, 2 years ago when Mackenzie was here.
Yeah.
Hurt my shoulder pretty bad. Couldn't lift my shoulder up at all. And said I'm going to put the team before me. I've always been that type of player, but that was the one that finally clicked that I can withstand things that go on in my life and fight through it and help a team win. We obviously didn't win that game at all, but I feel like that helped me a lot and showed me a lot as a player and a person that I'm stronger than I think. And that was when it finally clicked after that game. Seeing all those guys in the locker room upset and crying, and then you got seniors in there. It's their last game ever. And I'm sitting here and a junior, and I'm like, it's getting close for me. So kind of reality struck, and it's like, it's time to go. We talked to the guys, sent a message in the group chat probably, and said this next year we're going to work our tails off, man, and we're going to get better every single day, and we're going to focus on the day in front of us and the play in front of us and not get too far ahead, man. Keep the main thing as always.
And it happened. You guys won 10 games a year ago. You go from before this time last year going into a season where everybody wanted to see Florida State take a step. That happened. This year, it's a different set of expectations. A lot of people predict Florida State to win the conference. A lot of people think that certainly you're a Heisman Trophy candidate, that Florida State could be in the college football playoff. Does that affect you in any way?
Never. I've been down in the dumps, man. I had a lot of critics before telling me all the things I couldn't do. So I know how it feels. And Coach Norvell always talks about managing when things are going bad, but the hardest thing is managing success. You got to learn how to manage yourself every single day when you're being successful, winning games. I always talk about the person. You always have to be a good person no matter what, man. I feel like I've always been the same guy no matter what's going on in my life. That's a big thing for me is I say humility. But it's Coach Norvell. It starts up top and works its way down.
So obviously those expectations, those are external, as he talks about. You guys have those same expectations for yourself. It's you don't allow yourself, I don't imagine, but I am curious, have you allowed yourself at all to think about if that were to happen, if it were to play out the way that you would want it to win a Heisman Trophy?
Never thought about it.
That's interesting.
I'm ready to win football games, and that's all I care about.
Quick question. Of the guys that have come in, obviously everybody highlights Keon Coleman. Talk a little bit about the guys that have come in, whether it's Destin Hill, obviously another a guy with explosive speed. Of all the guys that have come in, what have you seen from him this offseason?
Yeah, a bunch of hard workers, good people and hard workers. That's what we need at Florida State University is people that are willing to work. Because if you don't love football, Florida State's not the place for you. Derek Satterfield and I were talking yesterday, I guess. When you say that type of thing, a coach may take it the wrong way, but it's reality, man. I mean, we work so hard, and obviously outside of football, we have a life. I mean, I fish, I do my thing, but if you don't love football, Florida State's out the spot. We work hard. We love our coach. We love the team, but we're going to work our tails off every single day and try to get better.
Whether it's a freshman or a veteran that comes in, like through the transfer portal, what's the first thing you say to them? What kind of conversations do you have? Do you lay that out? Hey, this is what we're going to do.
Because I want someone to tell me if I was in their shoes.
Right.
Reality. Tell them we're going to work our tails off. Coach Norvell and this coaching staff absolutely loves us. I can't express to you how much I love them and how much I respect them, man, because they're always just the same people every day. They have things that go on at home. I mean, they got families that they're supporting. Always the same people. But yeah, I talk about the coaching staff, man, and how we work.
Good luck this year, Jordan.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Jordan Travis, starting quarterback, Florida State University. High expectations, obviously, both for him personally and for the team. But as Jordan just got done saying, they don't seem to be affected by that. I find it interesting. That was a good conversation with Jordan Travis. He's made great strides in that realm as well, Tom. He's not a guy that loves this. Doesn't love the give and take with the media, but he's better at it. Just like he is better on the field, he's gotten better at this as well. We'll react to that in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. To satisfy your chicken craving, then head on over to your neighborhood Tallahassee Zaxby's. We've got hand-breaded chicken fingers, boneless and traditional wings, supersized sandwiches, fresh-made salads, and a galaxy of sauces from mild to wild, plus shareable sides and platters for tailgates. It's all made to order. It's just how you like it. Your Tallahassee Zaxby's, a proud Golden Chief booster for over 18 years. Go Noles. So our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember. So I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777, and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news in
Broadcasting from Charlotte, North Carolina during the ACC Kickoff. We're on Radio Row. Let's talk about ISF. Let's solve for the future. Let's do that. That's what we're going to do. We're going to solve for the future through process innovation. Speaking of process innovation, I'm glad you asked, Tom. The Florida Department of Health Child Care Food Program's business process review is something that ISF did. Now think about this. This is pretty cool. ISF provided a thorough business process review for the Department of Health Bureau of Child Care Food Programs Management Information Payment System. It's known as the MIPS. MIPS is a system that is used by child care providers to submit federal reimbursement claims for meals and snacks provided to children in their facilities. To address the need for updates to the system, ISF analyzed that whole process, buddy, and they fixed MIPS. More efficient, everybody got their money, and the kids got fed.
That's
solving.
We talked about ISF in a meeting that we had a couple of months ago with Jonathan, who's a great guy. Sounds like a great place to work, actually. He's talking about what they do for their employees.
Right.
But basically, the way I like to explain ISF is there's a lot of red tape and nonsense that your business or perhaps your firm here in Tallahassee
Governmental
might
agencies,
need.
yes.
How do I get from A to B, and how do I make sure that the boxes are checked and I don't get fined because I'm not doing something wrong legislatively, right? These people figure that out for you.
Yeah.
If you don't want your head to spin, call ISF. They'll figure it out and they'll work with you to get it done.
Yeah, they're an IT strategy firm, so they're going to help you out there with that. And they collaborate. And that's why we do it with you guys here every time we do this. It's an opportunity to, what? Are all our people moving in there? What's going on? Florida State, did they get there early? What's happening?
They're doing the podium at 1:30. That's different than the breakout room. Remember, there's the morning breakouts with the local media, the TV 30 minutes, and then the afternoon breakouts.
It's a little redundant.
Minutes. Well, there didn't used to be, talking about collaboration. Florida State wanted to collaborate with us because sometimes the local media gets their questions poached in the breakout room. They said, all right, we're going to dedicate time for just you. But now I think we're good. I think there's enough.
I think that we got more than enough.
Well, especially because they have such a great policy day to day.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
In the Jimbo era or the Willie era, you might need that extra 10 to 15 minutes because you never see anybody. You never talk to anybody. But in this era, it's like, I just saw you last week. What's going on, man?
Yeah, that's true. So we can solve the future like ISF does by saying, guys, we don't need all this. We need to whittle it down. We need fewer of these things. Actually, I want to do this.
Well, now that you're here too for Radio Row, that helps. You know what I mean? We have our setup, we have our interview.
Got your guy.
And you heard it. You heard it today.
Yeah, it was good. And on the heels of that interview with Jordan Travis, I want to say this. That's how you solve for the future is you have that guy passing it on. You have that guy paying it forward. You have that guy talking to players and about the right way to do things, about we're going to go to work. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And they'll then in turn pass it on. And that's how you sustain a culture. It gets harder and harder to do as the distractions mount. And the distractions mount by definition when you win. I mean, it's going to happen. Everybody wants a piece of somebody who's winning. But if you have a strong culture and you got players that own it, and run it from the locker room, you got a chance.
Well, I can tell you, and you can find this on Warchant TV because you'll have seen the question asked and answered from the breakout this afternoon. But I'm going to ask Jordan Travis a question that I didn't get to in the morning, which is, does Brock Glenn impress you from a maturity standpoint? I want to know what he says to that because he's very impressive from the outside of the operation looking in. And, of course, Jordan's going to say yes, some variety of yes. But the way he says it, I'll be very fascinated.
It'll tell you.
Do his eyes light up a little bit? Because I think that's your future right there. And Croman Hawk is going to be, in terms of a high school product, a better prospect. But Brock looks like the college game suits him just fine.
One thing I think Jordan does a good job of, and this is leadership 101, he'll get the question. He knows what you're asking. But he's very careful not to obscure the efforts of others.
Of course.
So what he'll do is he'll say, yeah, absolutely, and then he'll talk to you, whatever that is.
AJ's great.
Yeah. But then he's going to tell you that Tate and AJ and all those guys possess that as well. But you're right. You'll get your answer. He's just going to make sure he includes so many other people.
I think that's who the torch is going to get passed down to here. And I think maybe it's a bridge to Croman Hawk, maybe. But, sometimes guys arrive on campus and they could be heralded players and they just don't pan out. See what Clemson just went through a quarterback with an all-world recruit who in his first game of the pandemic season at Notre Dame lit it up.
Went
and
nuts.
DJ Uyunglele is, I don't even remember where he is now, but he's transferred, he's moved on, and sometimes it doesn't hit. It's just I'm so impressed with that young man. I'd like to know from somebody who is going to be the future bridge, somebody who can influence Brock Glenn or Duffy or Tate Rodemaker right now. What does Jordan think of him? Because maybe that's the next guy.
Yeah, you do wonder, that quarterback stuff, when we get into those conversations, it's a lot of fun because they have so many now.
Yeah.
And you kind of just assumed at the time it was going to be AJ rising to the top of that list.
And it could still be.
I don't think so.
I agree. I don't think, but it could be because even in his limited reps when Tate was struggling before he had his Louisville moment, AJ looked calmer on the field as a gamer. Sometimes guys are garbage in practice, or maybe not. That's probably too strong of a word.
Yeah,
They're meh in practice, but then they get into the game and the adrenaline spikes and they're locked in and they perform. That could still be AJ. I guess people, you're hearing me. In practice, I'm not impressed. But I have been very impressed by Brock in one camp. I can't wait to see him this camp.
DJ Uiagalelei.
Where'd he go?
Oregon State.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a toughie. You won't see him ever again.
Unless they're tied with USC in the second half.
Yeah, and then you're like, look at this.
DJ, look at him go.
Well, I'm kind of rooting for him, I guess. He's not a threat to us now. He's not at Clemson, so.
But he was doing better things before our game. I'll never.
He played well against us.
And he played well against us. But, I mean, he missed some things, but he's just a hard guy. He's not consistent enough at that level. Those are going to happen. That's going to happen here, too, where guys like, I see why he was a 5-star or a 4-star, but he's not consistent.
It's going to be fascinating to see what happens with him because they'll fall in love with him at the combine whenever that happens. He's 6'4", 255 pounds.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
And he carries it well, too.
Yeah. So they're going to say, well, maybe we can figure this out here. Maybe he has a shot. He always seemed like a good enough kid, but that's an aside. The quarterback situation here is one that has not been talked about at all because the certainty is that of Jordan Travis, but Jordan talked about playing through pain. You just heard that. Talking about, he's capable of more than he thought he could withstand, no matter what's going on in your life, all that stuff. It's fascinating, though. If he does get hurt, and I've been asked this a lot, if he gets hurt, is this team good enough to win a lot of games without him? And we've answered that. We've talked about it. I think the schedule suggests they would because I think they're good enough to line up, run the ball, throw off, play action, and play decent defense, and you'll win a lot of these games.
Yep.
Some of those games might turn out to be a lot closer than you would have liked, but I think they would win them.
No,
majority of them.
Yeah, the matchups are the matchups. Look, if you're rolling out a set where you got Johnny and Keon, insert slot receiver here who's good. So it could be fully healthy Winston Wright, Van Dravius Jacobs, or anything in between. All right. Then you got Jaheim Bell on the field and Trey Benson on the field. If you're a quarterback in that situation and your name's Rodemaker, you still will scan the field and say, oh, they're leaving Jaheim in one-on-one. I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
Or Keon or Johnny. I mean, you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
Or, my God, they are so afraid of Keon and Johnny. Let's run the ball. Let's check it into a run. These decisions are going to be very easy for whoever's under center if Jordan were to go down for a quarter or half.
Did you think it was interesting that he cited very specifically the Florida game where the light bulb went off for him?
Yep.
I thought that was interesting. Now, he came at it from a different angle than I was maybe suggesting when I asked the question. He came at it more from like a character, a toughness standpoint.
Correct. Ira actually had heard that about the challenge that they issued to him. Now that Jordan's on record saying it, I can bring that to. But Ira said apparently it was, hey, man, you can play through this. We need you to play through this.
Yeah.
It's not they're better off without me. You're all we got.
Yeah.
So
we
60% of you is better, and you've got to understand that. And it apparently in that moment clicked for him.
It's a toughie for everybody that's his backup. I mean, my goodness gracious.
We saw McKenzie for one drive in that game.
Well, and he was terrible. He couldn't play a lick. No, I know it's interesting that's what he perceived from that last question.
Game. Yeah. So you could tell that somebody weeping in there hit him hard about the finality of it all
and how close he was to being. He recognized his time was nigh. And so
he got on a group text with his friends
and said, "No, it's not how we're going out."
I mean, I never heard that before. That's good job out of you. I was like, all right, Jordan,
there you go, buddy.
You got to tell people these things, son.
Well, yeah, and it's also, you think about the process he's gone through. We've watched it out on the field, but this is the stuff off the field that's so interesting because it's all in here. Yep. It's the thought process, it's the emotions, it's the camaraderie, and like the idea that I always say it. Everybody knows this. Football's the ultimate team game, man. You need everybody to do their job to be successful. Mike Norvell today talking about the Heisman Trophy this morning and the fact that Jordan's a candidate. Mike said, well, it's really kind of a team award. He knows that the receivers have got to be great. The offensive line's got to be great. They got to have some balance. They got to win games. None of that's possible if just your quarterback's good. You need all those other guys.
He'll die. You know what I mean? Like the Florida game nearly killed him. It's just that's what I mean, of course. But you don't want the Florida game to be the reality every week. You can't win 10, 11 games that way. It's just not possible. But that's where I get excited. For example, earlier on, you want to solve for the immediate future. Jared Verse was raving about Jeremiah Byers today. And he said he's the offensive line version of me in that he'll never shut up. So we found another enforcer. Remember, we were talking about that in the offseason. Who's going to be the enforcer type? Julian Armella, if he can ever get on the field, will most certainly be an enforcer type because you don't step to Julian. He will answer the questions.
Yes, he will. I want Julian to fight his ass off for a spot this year because he's talented. He's talented.
He's not content. You could see his demeanor in practice. He's not content. He wants it.
I think he's
he should already be there.
Yeah, I think he does. And so really, if I'm just speaking here from a fan standpoint, worried about him, man. If he doesn't get that job, I wonder if he'll still be here next year. That's just me wondering aloud.
You have to message very aggressively with him.
You do.
And if he doesn't win the job, then he might need to be – you can't force it. But if he's good enough to be in a rotation,
he's got to play 4 games for sure.
You want the 5 to get the chemistry down and be handled, But at right guard, you could see a rotation there with Dimitri, or at right tackle, you could see a rotation to keep guys fresher. I think they're good enough to do that. And Alex Atkins has them all prepared that it shouldn't be too big of a leap. Maybe it's a question for Alex next week at the coaches convention.
It'll be a fun question.
Could you entertain the idea of in-game rotation if it's the game still in the balance? Or is that something that you don't like because you want your 5 to know each other inside and out?
Yeah, I think that's the answer, by the way, the latter that you just gave. But I don't think he's afraid to put guys out there for a stretch of time. If guy's got an ankle, needs retaping, whatever it might be. Yeah. Throw this guy out there. I'm not worried about the continuity in this situation.
The idea of a defensive interior rotation. Right? You're better if you're fresher. Is that possible in your philosophy, Alex, or no? He might say yes. Because, again, they are so well freaking prepared in that room. They know every answer to every question.
They do. It's really cool. And he takes great pride in preparing them so that they know exactly. Because he's brought this up before when they fail the test. He's like a disapproving teacher. He's just so disappointed.
Those are the most uncomfortable moments on the practice field. I'm doing these nervous twitches under the table because when a guy gets something wrong, he calls the entire classes, if you will, classroom's attention to it.
Yeah.
And they do it over. And if he gets it wrong again, they do it over. And everybody's waiting.
There. Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of players, and they're freshmen. It's supposed to happen.
Yeah, they're overwhelmed a little bit.
Some weren't freshmen, but it's the 8th try. I mean, dude, that's like 3-4 minutes of curb your enthusiasm level awkward energy.
It's like, looking around, like, this is tough. Doesn't look like Keith knows how to move his right foot.
Right. We'll do it again. Yep. We'll do it again. Whoop. Blows the whistle.
Oh my God. You want to walk out there and be like, here, come here, watch me. Let's do this together. We can.
The teammates are running up to help me. He's like, nope. He's got to learn. Don't you dare. It's like,
yeah, it's fantastic. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers. And that's not all. Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus,
Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270-146.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore because Dave got a new grill from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Royal Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young.
We may be here in Charlotte on Radio Row, but you back in Tallahassee are thinking my son or daughter is going to put the bat to the ball, softball or baseball, and you think,
no slappies.
They're not very good. My kid's not very good. I'd like him to get better.
Right now they have to slappy. And we're not doing that.
No.
We're going to drive the ball.
We're going to equip and motivate your athletes that are focused on baseball and softball with the tools they need to reach their true potential. That's what they do at Power Mill, buddy. Like that? That's a better speech than we heard from our commissioner yesterday. I should just get up there and talk about Power Mill.
You want to talk hard hit rates? Let's talk Power Mill.
Camp's going on right now. Inquire about that. Go to PowerMillSports.com to learn more. Baseball, softball, good times for kids that are trying to make it to the bigs or the Olympic softball team or whatever your goals are. Maybe you just want to have a good time. Maybe you just want to play.
Maybe you want to play at Florida State.
Maybe.
You better get to work.
Yeah. Well, we need
for softball.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Softball.
Probably make the team right now for Florida State baseball, some of these kids. So it's been a tough go.
Yes.
It's been a tough go. PowerMillSports.com. All right, let's cue it up and do some probable, shall we?
Let's think it.
There it is, everybody. There it is.
Smooth.
Hey, that's what happens when you're on the set. Angels, Tigers, Chase Silseth. It's a cool name.
All right.
Silseth. Matt Manning goes to the Tigers. Nationals, Mets, TBD. Second time.
Oh, second sign. All right, let's bring it.
There you go. Cubs, Cardinals, TBD. Miles Mikolas.
Yes.
Guardians, White Sox. Tanner Bibby. TBD. And that's a look at those. The shower's out of the rough. And just like that, kids, it's over. Pirates used to have a pitcher back in the day named Jim Bibby. And Bibby died a few years back. And I don't know why. And it's really true of baseball more than any other sport, that you love certain players even if they're not stars. They're just guys.
Angel Pagan.
That's your guy.
Angel Pagan.
Yeah. He's a useful player.
Yes. Switch hitter, flat swing through the strike zone. Good fielder. Great speed. Good base.
You could put him in a lot of places.
This era of the base stealing, my God, he would have had 35, 40 bags.
So players like that, you fall in love with them. You know, it's funny. It's you watch a baseball team enough, if they're your team. Yep. There's the unheralded guy. At the end of the year, he's hitting 263. He's got 11 bombs. He's got 52 RBIs.
They're big ones, though.
Yeah, he's not an everyday guy.
Yeah.
But you're like, you know what? You know who I like? I like that Jim Bibby. That's who I like. He's a solid player right there. Oh, Bibby's in the lineup today. Now, Bibby was a pitcher, so I can't really say it that way. But there were guys like that, where you just look out there and you're like, oh, man, I like that guy.
Angel Pagan was a career 280 hitter.
Okay.
Good ball player. For the Mets, let's see. Yeah, he topped out with 11 home runs and 69 RBI.
I pretty much nailed it, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I always
he had 37 steals for the Mets, so he would have had 50 bags
back
in this era.
Yeah, he would. I always crack up because people forget that Bautista played for the Pirates.
Yep.
And I think
if you play Immaculate Grid, remember that one.
Yeah, and yes, definitely do. And if I'm not mistaken, the most home runs he ever hit for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 12. He had 12 for the Pirates. So we're like, gonna have to let this guy go in a trade. We really see what we can get for him.
Yep.
A couple years later, dude's hitting 50 home runs for Toronto.
Another cheat code for you in Immaculate Grid is Mike Piazza on the Marlins because he played for them for like 2 weeks.
Yes, he did. That's a good one, by the way. Mm-hmm. You got to find guys like that. There's
Pedro on the Expos Nationals.
Oh, that works.
He was part of the strike shortened season. Pedro was on in that mix. Yeah,
I would not have thought that.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it's a good one, buddy.
The way you're looking at me now, I'm second guessing myself, but I'm sure of it.
Sure. I don't. But that's what I'm saying, man. It's fun when you get that. You got to find those guys that have played for lots of teams to win Immaculate Grid. I'm looking up a guy right now that, if I recall correctly. This is terrible.
Plums.
This is terrible radio on my behalf, but I'm going to find this player for you.
Scott Schoenweiss.
Octavio Dotel.
Dotel, he played for us?
He played for everybody.
He played for
So
the
guys,
A's.
everybody. I'm telling you all out there,
yep.
if you need help with Immaculate Grid, Octavio Dotel, buddy.
Yep.
Go pull him up.
Okay.
Look at that.
The Mets, Houston, Oakland, the Yankees, Kansas City, Atlanta, the White Sox, Pittsburgh, Dodgers, Colorado, St. Louis, Detroit. Wow.
Toronto as well. Did you skip Toronto?
I think I said Toronto.
There it is. Toronto down at the bottom. Yeah. So look at that. That dude played forever. He played forever. Look at all those teams. Toronto, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Braves, the Pirates, Colorado, the Mets, Kansas City, the White Sox, Detroit, Oakland, Houston. Guys, Octavio Dotel is the answer.
That's right.
That is your answer. I'm giving you answers to questions.
Man, but he was I think he was a starter for a bit of his career.
Oh, yeah. He did a little bit of
but
everything.
middle reliever guys are cheat codes.
Yeah. You got to use
Guillermo Mota.
Oh, yeah. We have our own guy, the lefty from
Randy Choate.
Yeah, Randy Choate. He pitched for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Nelson.
Marlins, Cardinals,
Yep.
Mets. I mean, Choate, didn't Choate play for the Mets?
I don't think so.
Well, maybe it was the Dodgers. Maybe I'm thinking of him.
We had Rick White from the Rays. Remember Rick White, the stocky dude?
Rick White. And I think that's how we're going to end it, folks.
We got him and Mike Bordick the same day on trade deadline day years and years ago.
With Eddie Money playing in the background. That's always a classic.
Yep.
We've enjoyed it, Charlotte, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow on a Libations Friday. It'd be good to be home, everybody.
Jared Verse looking smooth.
Yeah, he is. He's
wearing the sunglasses.
He's wearing sunglasses indoors. Not necessary, but hilarious. And here we go. There's Kalen Deloach. It's about time to do some more interviews with these guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Be well, everybody. Peace.